Thank you so much for attending my PowerPoint presentation on every new Dota mechanic explained. So this presentation is designed to get someone up to speed who hasn't played Dota in a very long time. The game has added a considerable amount of new mechanics, and I've tried to roughly order them in the order that you will discover them in. First up is facets, which you're going to see as soon as you load into a match and pick your character and realize that you have different flavors of them to pick from. These represent different versions of the heroes, and their impact varies wildly depending on the hero that you chose. Some are minor differences, while others completely rework spells and abilities, and they're often chosen depending on what position you're going to be playing as. For example, when you pick Wraith King, you have the option to select Bone Guard, which gives you an amazing farming ability that also allows you to pressure towers, gives you great kill threat in lane, harassment, and vision opportunities. But if you want to lose, you can instead pick Spectral Blade. The majority of heroes have one good facet, and if you need to know the stats, you can check out Dota Buff or Dota 2 Pro Tracker to see which one is good, but honestly, you can just read the majority and figure out which one is a meme and which one is actually usable. The majority of heroes have 2 facets, but a small handful have 3, and if you're playing as Chen, you have, I think, 6. We would need a Chen player to weigh in to learn the exact number. Despite seeming like a massive change to the game, because the majority of heroes really just pick one and stick with it, you're not going to see that much of a difference from game to game. But if you're the kind of player who loves theory crafting or hitting the crack pipe at the draft screen, you'll probably get a lot of entertainment value out of the various facets. Next up is neutral items, which you'll start noticing around 5 minutes into the game. These are fun little bonus items that you'll be upgrading throughout the game. You'll get new upgrade options at 15, 25, and 35 minutes before the game sort of forgets about them for a little while. Then 60 minutes rolls around and you'll learn that Valve is also hitting the crack pipe. Tier 5s are absolute game breakers, and the RNG of which ones you get is very likely going to determine the outcome of your match. As for how to get neutral items, you gain a cute little currency called Moonstone whenever you clear out a neutral camp. If you're not that good at clearing out jungle camps, it's okay. Your anti-mage is, and he's going to be doing it for the next 25 minutes. Whenever he clears out a jungle camp, he himself is going to get 2 Moonstone, and you, as his backup dancer, have a chance to get 1, regardless of where you are on the map. When you accumulate the necessary Moonstone, a little pop-up will appear and you'll have to pick not only which neutral item you want, but also the enchantment. The neutral item itself determines the ability, while the enchantment gives you some bonus stats. If you have Dota Plus, the game itself will let you know which combination is best, and you can basically go on autopilot for this mechanic. But if you're a returning player and you aren't willing to cough up $4 to see incorrect jungle stack timers, you'll have to actually stop and read what all of them do. You will get pudge hooked while you're doing this, but hey, that's the whole reason you re-downloaded this game in the first place. The Gamba sponsor keeps DMing me on Discord like it heard I was messaging other e-girls, so I'm here to plug my Patreon. The lowest tier gives you ad-free versions of all of my videos before they go live on YouTube. The higher ones give access to 2 bonus videos with more on the way every month, as well as stuff like custom audio recordings, MS Paint drawings, and handwritten letters mailed directly to your house. Use code PUGNACHAN for 20% off to celebrate the first month. Now, if you've never had the displeasure of landing against a Monkey King, then you probably don't know what talents are. This is one of the older new mechanics, and it's fairly easy to understand, because Valve ripped it straight out of Heroes of the Storm. Every hero now has a talent tree where you can pick between one of 2 upgrades starting at level 10. You get access to new talent options all the way up to level 25, and then, starting at level 27, it loops back around. Oh yeah, the new max level is 30, by the way. Anyway, the vast majority of the talents are all hero-specific, and they can do things like reducing the cooldown of a particular spell, increasing your damage or attack speed, or completely reworking something. The system is straightforward and easy to understand, but if you have Dota Plus, just like with neutral items, you can basically go on autopilot when picking the one that you want. If you remember back in the day, Invoker, when he hit level 25, would suddenly make Deafening Blast into a giant ravage in all directions around him. Now, that idea basically applies to every hero, and the level 25 talents are absolutely batshit insane. It's a humongous power spike, and the fact that you can get both of them means that you can potentially become the most powerful version of your hero. And since you're a returning player, you will probably quickly find yourself in an MMR dumpster fire, meaning that your games absolutely will last long enough. The current version of the talent system is overall pretty fair and balanced, but back in the day there was some crazy shit that you're very lucky to have missed out on. Heroes like Lina and Lone Druid had access to reductions for their respawn timer, basically giving them free buybacks. But eventually, the fine folks at Valve put out their black and mild and reworked the system several times, and they also nerfed the shit out of Monkey King. Next up is Aghanim shards, and in a single sentence you're going to have to learn 126 new abilities. This is a consumable item that does not take up an inventory slot and is only available after 15 minutes. You can think of it as a miniature version of an Aghanim scepter, because it oftentimes reworks an ability or grants an entirely new one. Their usability varies wildly, with some heroes absolutely requiring a shard in order to function, and others don't really care about them at all. For some, like Bane, it's a farming item for a support, while for others, like Tidehunter, it gives you such an insanely powerful ability that it honestly feels like a second ultimate. The downside, of course, is that you cannot buy them in the early game, and they cost 1400 gold, which isn't a small amount for a support. But nowadays, Valve is entirely run by the support player Illuminati over on Dota 2, so of course there's a way to get them for free. And that method is the Tormentor. Billed as an alternative to Roshan, one day in Dota, a giant cube chained to the earth popped out of the ground, and there's really not a whole lot of information about what it is or what it does in a lore context. But in terms of gameplay, it basically gives you a way to not only give your supports a free Aghanim shard, but to murder them in the process. The cube, as I've come to call it, will either be in the top left or the bottom right of the map opposite of wherever Roshan is, and if that sentence didn't make sense to you, just wait for the next slide. It basically has 1 HP, but it has a massive regenerating barrier, and whenever you deal damage to it, it will reflect that damage back to any enemy units in the area. Keep in mind that that sentence refers to the Tormentor's enemies, not yours, and this humble little box is full of rage. When killed, it will grant an Aghanim shard to one of the 2 poorest people on your team, which usually means the supports. Remember that there are situations where you will have one support who really wants a free shard, and one support who doesn't care at all. This means that your team can waste a massive amount of time traveling to an esoteric part of the map in order to flip a coin that determines whether your supports get stronger or not. Now, Tormentor is usually a team objective, but there's actually a double-digit number of heroes that can take it all by themselves. Ursa, Templar Assassin, and somehow Slardar are all capable of doing so, and then if they're willing to burn their ultimates, Troll Warlord and Juggernaut can too. Since it uses net worth to calculate who is eligible to get the shard, it also means that if your mid laner is feeding out of his mind, there's a chance he gets it instead, in which case you can use your Dota Plus laugh line. I wrote a little bit about what all these new objectives do to Dota's gameplay pattern. Feel free to read it if you like. And now for a bit of a lightning round. So Roshan moves now because Dire real estate got too expensive, so he operates on a timeshare system where he lives in whichever pit he isn't renting out as an Airbnb. You can see which river hut he's living in thanks to an icon that now lives on the minimap. And Valve also added a built-in respawn timer because 8 is a very big number for Dota players. As for the laning meta, we have been permanently stuck on 2-1-2 for the past several years, and the position 4, and sometimes the 5, will occasionally roam to other lanes but immediately come back. The river runes are mostly the same, except double damage gives slightly less physical attack but now amps your spell damage, and there's a new one called Arcane. It basically gives you a temporary Octarine core, and if you don't know what Octarine is, you're going to need a lot more than this video to get back up to speed. All heroes now have a temporary section of their inventory called the backpack, where they can store items but are unable to use them. It's really just an inventory management tool, but you can use it for item drop regen. It's a little bit less risky. The outposts are a new type of building that exists in the triangle. Oh, you don't know what a triangle is. They exist where the ancient camps are, and after you take a tier 2, you can steal the enemies. They just function as teleport points. Each player now has their own individual courier, which means that you'll no longer have to fight over it, and you get them for free at the start of the game. They also automatically upgrade and are tied to your hero level. Lotus pools are an awesome and interactive laning mechanic that basically function as one-time use magic wands. Located near the side lane tier 1s, they activate every 3 minutes, and whoever stands in it for a couple of seconds, uncontested, will claim it. The small ones combine up into medium ones, the mediums into large, and the large ones can actually be combined with cheese, but you'll never see that item in a real match. On the top left and bottom right of the map are the warp gates located near the Tormentor. You can use them to quickly teleport to the other side of the map. It costs 75 mana, and note that that mana is spent when you click on it, meaning that if you accidentally poof it, you're going to empty your mana pool and go nowhere. In addition to strength, agility, and intelligence, we now have Universal, a brand new stat that actually isn't a new stat at all. It basically means that a hero doesn't actually have a primary stat, and they get a reduced amount of damage gain from everything. The majority of new Dota heroes, the ones you haven't seen before, are going to be universal, but not all of them. It used to be broken as fuck, but not anymore. Both teams now have access to Scan, an ability very similar to the thing you got from Comsat stations when you were playing Terran in StarCraft. You get 2 charges and you can use them on the minimap and it'll tell you if there are any enemy heroes there. Some people will get mad at you for using it on Roche Pit because they'll claim it doesn't work, and that means that those people haven't read a goddamn patch note in several years. Lastly, you have the Watchers, which are temporary wards that you can claim for your team by channeling them. They're alright. In conclusion, Dota is ephemeral, and you should absolutely play it. A considerable amount of drug overdoses are caused by people who quit, return to the drug, and take the exact same amount that they were taking at the time they quit. Dota 2 replicates this experience by forcing you to play at the exact same MMR you had when you quit 7 years ago. Peace on planet Earth.